everybody. It is now 4:15. I'd like to begin the program today. And so please get your refreshments and sit down. I welcome you to the 11th Annual Scholarly Speaking Program. And this year, the annual Faculty Award Ceremony will be featured as part of the program. I'm Sarah Thomas, and I'm the Director of the Haase Library and Learning Center. I'm so delighted to see you here today. Thank you so much for coming. We believe that the Prescott campus authors deserve recognition from the learning community, and we are honored to provide this celebration for you. Haase Library has a commitment to supporting the academic works of ERAU Prescott, not only through this event, but also through our Scholarly Commons, the University Institutional Repository. I invite you to submit your publications to Scholarly Commons and to selected works. Please see the brochure inserted in your program, and please see David Ahrensberger for assistance. He's in the back there. This program in bibliography would not be possible without the dedication of the committee members. Dr. Del Necki, Chair, David Ahrensberger, Linda Eisner, Joanne Evanoff, Kathy Hill, Susie Raw, Sean San Roman, and Patricia Watkins. Let's show our appreciation for their hard work to produce this. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce our Chancellor, Dr. Ayers, who will give the welcome.
Okay, this is pretty consistent for faculty who always ask their students to sit in the front row. We're going to have to work on this. I thought about going to the back of the room and asking you all to turn around and get started. In any event, I'll make my remarks brief. I have said before that it's a privilege to be a part of this faculty, and it is, as a card-carrying faculty member. The commitment to our students, the commitment to knowledge, the commitment to scholarship, and as we progress, the commitment to applied research is amazing. And you see it behind me flashing on the screens, where you see individuals and the work they've done, in addition to the teaching loads they have, and all the amazing service things they do at our university. Today we're going to honor faculty members in 4 categories for excellence. And then we're also going to honor all those faculty who have really stepped out above in the areas of scholarship as well. And whether you do a little bit or a lot, it adds to your body of knowledge when you walk in the classroom. I'd also like to acknowledge, I think we have 4 or 5 folks here who were just promoted and tenured today. I would ask if our promotees and tenurees would stand up, please, and be recognized. Come on, Sydney, I saw you over there. But I would share with you that our record of promotion and tenure is pretty spotless. The faculty offers up the best, and those who are ready to be promoted and tenured in the university recognizes them immediately and that's been special. So with that, I would tell you that this afternoon is a nice chance to, and I would also tell you we have 2 great speakers coming up. And I think it's exciting for us to hear from 2 of our own to talk about their scholarship area and their journey. So I think it's going to be a great program. It'll be an even greater program when I stop speaking. So I will get off the stage, and I will pass off the baton, I think, to...
Back to me.
Back to Sarah. And by the way, has anyone noticed that this young lady's been with our university for how many years? 35 years.
Dedication, commitment. Thank you, Dr. Ayers. You're welcome. This year we have produced a bibliography with 39 faculty and staff authors. Please note the program includes citations for the calendar year 2015, only from those authors who submitted them. This is not an official or complete list. There may be other authors who are not included. Because of time and space limitations, presentations and publications by students at URA URI Discovery Day, AirCon, and Honors Program were not included in this program. However, we would like to acknowledge their work and their faculty mentors with a round of applause. Today, I'm excited to present those authors who have works published or papers presented in the year 2015. Dr. Bloom, Chief Academic Officer, will congratulate you for your publications. Thank you, Dr. Bloom. When I call your name, please come up to my left to receive your certificate and then return to your seat to the right. A group photo will be taken at the very end of the program after the speakers. Please hold your applause to the end. Mehran Andalibi, College, Engineering, Research Areas, Autonomous Systems, Computer Vision, Machine Learning. Quentin Bailey was not able to come today because he's at a conference in Los Angeles. Angela Beck. Is Angela here? Dr. Richard Bloom, Security and Intelligence. Profiling, Risk Assessment, Counterintelligence, Critiques of Postmodernism, of Psychological Assessment and Hermeneutics, Historical Narrative. Ken Bordignon. Dr. Brent Bowen was unable to attend today. Erin Bowen. Okay, Erin's out of town. Leanne Chan. Working at home. Good for her. Nick Devereaux. I saw him earlier. Okay, Erica Deals. There she is. Okay, good. College Aviation, Research Areas, Attitudes in Commercial Pilot Training. Hillary Eaton. College Art and Sciences, Research Areas, Microbiology, Bioremediation, Toxicology. Is Thomas Field still on sabbatical? Okay, so Thomas Field. Thomas Foley. Oh, there you are. Okay. College Security and Intelligence, Research Areas, School Shootings, School Security, Active Shooter, Workplace Violence, Behavioral Threat Assessment, and Securing Large Venues from Drone Threats. Jonathan Gallimore, last year's speaker. College Arts and Sciences, Research Areas, Action and Perception, Working Memory, Transportation Research, Aviation Psychology. Iacopo Gentilini, College Engineering, Research Areas, Robotics. Cindy Greenman, congratulations Cindy. College Arts and Sciences, Research Areas, Accounting Ethics. Don Groh, one of our speakers today. College of Aviation, Research Areas, Undergraduate Research Capstone Models in Aviation Degree Programs, Retention in Higher Education Flight Training. Tyrone Groh, College of Security and Intelligence, Research Areas, International Relations. John Haas, College, Security and Intelligence, Cybersecurity, Securing the Internet of Things. James Helbling, Dorothea Ivanova. Oh, she didn't come today. Curtis James, College, Aviation, Research Areas, Mesoscale, Radar, Mountain Meteorology. Philip Jones is here. College, Security and Intelligence, Dean. Research Areas, Military, Political, and Cultural Studies of the Southwest Asia region.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Dr. Chen.
Oh my. Okay. Eileen Landis Groom. Oh, good, she came. College, Arts and Sciences, research areas, travel literature, nonfiction about animals, the teaching of writing, and creative writing. Jackie Lou King. College Aviation, research areas, aviation safety, aviation management, effects of marketing in aviation, service quality in aviation, women's contributions to aviation, retention issues, pedagogical issues in higher education. Lisa Maroney, I think I saw her, good. Center for International Programs and Services, Entrepreneurship and Culture. Juan Mert, College Aviation, Energy Management Training, Aerospace Physiology, Aviation Program Accreditation, Aviation Curriculum Development. Sarah Nelson is at a conference and was unable to attend. Nika Nordbrock was at a conference and is unable to attend. Jenna Perry is here. College Aviation. Research areas, flight simulation training, education, pedagogical studies, and human factors. Ed Post, College Engineering. Research areas, design and optimization of planar, microwave circuits and devices, engineering education. Brian Rogo, is he here? I didn't see him. Tim Sestak, College Aviation, research areas, wingsuits. Sam Seward, College Engineering, research areas, software-defined computational photometry. Mark Sinclair. Oh, there you are. Okay, College Aviation, research areas, synoptic and dynamic meteorology. Bill Waldock, College Arts and Sciences, research areas, aircraft accident investigation, crashworthiness, survivability investigation. Patricia Watkins, Hazy Library and Learning Center, research areas, competitive intelligence, international and industrial research, library information resources. Melanie Wetzel, and she's off campus. Hong John, okay. College Arts and Sciences, research areas, integrating technology and language, language teaching and learning in virtual environments. So now let's have a round of applause to recognize The next part of the program will be the annual Faculty Awards ceremony. I'd like to introduce our Chief Academic Officer, Dr. Richard Bloom, who will be conducting this ceremony.
I think we have code up here, and the technology people, can you figure out what that means before we have it? I appreciate that. Well, we're going to go college by college, and what we're doing is identifying people who have manifested outstanding professional behavior, and each one of them is only an exemplification of all the other faculty in the college. So these awards are really for our academic capabilities and how great you all are doing. going to begin with the College of Engineering. Their nomination, actually the winner for the college for Researcher of the Year, has a special name. It's called the Icarus Group. And I'm a little surprised by that. If I remember from Greek mythology, wasn't Icarus the one that fell? I'm not sure exactly what's happening. Are there any Icari out there who want to change history? Please, come on up.
Come on up.
All Icari. That would be with an I as opposed to an AE, which would be more Latin.
We're missing one.
And what I'd like, maybe in a very short 2 sentences or so, could you elaborate for everyone what you folks were up to?
So, anyone volunteer? So we're a group of faculty members that found ourselves working in similar areas. So we decided to become each other's graduate students effectively and to collaborate and work together. Can you hear me? Don't really need it. Can you hear me at the back, Colin? Good. So we're working in the area. You can't hear me, really?
We're recording.
So we're working in the area of unmanned or autonomous systems, and we have different complementary skill sets, so we decided to pool our resources and work together. Luckily, Dr. Madler gave us a room in which we can actually work, and so we're quite grateful to have a small research lab and look forward to the future.
How about a hand for these people, please? And I just hope, actually I wish they were around a few thousand years ago before Icarus fell. It's really a psychological issue. He didn't listen to his father. But thank you all very much. And then we actually have 2 teaching awards for each college. One is for student satisfaction, and one is for teaching and pedagogical innovation. For student satisfaction, we have Professor Mike Fabian. Professor Fabian. And for, I think the engineer has decided to, for innovation, Professor Brad Wall. Professor Wall here. Let's give him a hand, please. We also have an award for Service of the Year, which often includes campus-wide activity, could be external activity, interfacing with government or industry to the general public, or to our learning community here. This year we have Professor Brian Davis. It's Professor Davis here. He's here in spirit. Let's give him a hand, please. I realize engineers often don't have the most superlative social behaviors. I'm sure interpersonal anxiety that keeps a lot of these folks coming, and we'll work on that for next year. And then we have the Adjunct Faculty of the Year from the College of Engineering, Professor John Crabtree. He has that interpersonal issue. Well, I'm hoping that the aviators are going to fly right up here. First of all, College of Aviation, faculty member, Outstanding Service of the Year, Professor Don Groh. The Researcher of the Year for the College of Aviation, Professor Jackie Licky. For teaching, the Innovator of the Year is Professor Dorothea Ivanova, who, I guess the rubber caught up with her. And for student satisfaction, we have Professor Sean Jarrows. Professor Jarrows. And the Adjunct Faculty of the Year in the College of Aviation is Professor Gary Vessel. Professor Vessel here. Let's have a hand for him, please. Okay, College of Arts and Sciences. First, the Teacher of the Year, Innovation, Professor Tarek Ahmoud. Student Satisfaction, Professor Preston Jones. Researcher of the Year, Professor Michaela Zanelli. Mrs. Zanelli. The Professor for Outstanding Service of the Year, Professor Paul Riljak. Professor Riljak. And Adjunct Professor of the Year, Professor Vicky Tucson. I know about stereotypes of faculty. Faculty academicians are supposed to be unusually narcissistic, craving adulation and reverence from people. So I'm a little surprised that these folks haven't shown up, because that's why they live, to get these things. College of Security and Intelligence, Researcher of the Year, Professor Jeffrey Jensen. Professor Jensen. The Adjunct Faculty of the Year, Professor James Lockhart. A lot of these don't have a signature to them yet. That's because we're waiting for the overseas voting and the balloting to be finished. I'm pretty sure these folks have won. Thank you very much. Outstanding Professor for Service of the Year, Professor Karen Munier. Professor Munier. Teacher of the Year, Innovation, Professor Ty Groh. Teacher of the Year, Student Satisfaction, Professor Matt Jacobs. Professor Jacobs. And now, often recognized as the most prestigious award today, is Researcher of the Year for the entire learning community, all 4 colleges. And the deans and I gave it a lot of thought. We talked to national and international experts in various academic areas, and we have come to the final decision that Researcher of the Year for our learning community here at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University Prescott campus is Professor Michaela Zanelli. And as we know, he's not here, although he's here in spirit, but he and a couple of other faculty from the physics department actually made the international news a little bit in the past, actually substantiating a implication going back to Albert Einstein's great magical year of 1905, where 3 different papers were written, and to be able to substantiate something like that is really an incredible thing, and it really puts Embry-Riddle on the map as the top when it comes to that particular academic area. So I think that's a really great thing. So we'll be doing this again next year, and one challenge for me, I think, and the deans, and maybe for all of you, we have well over 100 full-time faculty here. They need to be here at this event, as well as the adjuncts as well, because we're working together, we're all in it together, we're all in a learning community, and we continue to progress in many ways. It's very, very important. At this particular point, I think I'm going to ask Dr. Sarah Thomas to come back up here. We're going to begin the 3rd section of our gala event today. 2 presentations from 2 of our faculty. So,
Thank you very much, Dr. Booth. And let's have another round of applause for all of the faculty awards. Our first guest speaker will be Professor Don Groh from the College of Aviation.
So I saw the snacks in the back, and I'm assuming that this starts out something like, "Hello, my name's Dawn, and I'm an academic." So,
Hi, Dawn.
hi, thank you. So Dr. Bowen asked me to talk tonight and just give a little short talk on how I came to be here at Embry-Riddle, as I have a very atypical academic career path. So I'd like to call this speech Confessions of a Reluctant Academic. So many of you, Jonathan, Dina, might be familiar with the stages of change model. It's a behavior. Yes, we do. So we're going to start sharing problems now. So it's a systematic approach in understanding how people change their behaviors. This is a great model to describe my journey from Army helicopter pilot to stay-at-home military spouse to program chair of the Embry-Riddle helicopter program. So Dr. Bowen and I met at a search committee interview for my husband, Dr. Groh. He was interviewing for a position in the College of Aviation. And after discovering that I have a sordid past as an Army helicopter pilot, he asked if I had an advanced degree and if I'd be interested in teaching as an adjunct at Embry-Riddle. So, enter phase one, the pre-contemplation phase. No, not me. People in this phase are not seriously thinking about making a change and are not interested in any kind of help. So, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not interested in working full-time. I'd really like to continue to be involved with my kids. I'd like to pursue some other things. People defend their behavior and don't feel they have any type of a problem. So, I'm happy not working full-time. What's wrong with that? So Dr. Bowen proceeds to tell me how amazing everybody is here at Embry-Riddle, what an exciting opportunity it would be to start flying again and get involved again in aviation, what an academic career path might look like, what the fabulous salary and benefits are for adjunct professors. Enter phase two, the contemplation phase. Well, maybe, with a sales pitch like that, why wouldn't I think about it? So people in this stage are more aware of their personal consequences of their behavior and weigh the pros and cons of modifying their behavior. Well, my kids are getting older, we're moving to a new state, would be exciting to have an opportunity, a job opportunity waiting for me when we move. Good excuse to upgrade my wardrobe. So I accept, enter phase three, the preparation phase. Okay, so what now? In this phase, you have the intent to take action. So I guess I better figure out what adjunct actually means and start dropping words like pedagogy into my daily vocabulary. Find out what classes I'll be teaching. How do I prepare to take a job like this? Is it true adjuncts don't get their own office? And does this get me out of cooking dinner every night? So enter phase four, the action phase. Let's do this. People in this phase believe they have the ability to change their behavior and are actively involved in taking steps using a variety of techniques. This is where I give major props to my colleagues in the College of Aviation for answering a million, literally, questions and not hiding under their desks every time they saw me coming down the hall. This is where I thank Dr. Merck and Dr. Bowen for thinking it was a good idea for me to attend industry conferences to get all the swag and, of course, get a pulse of the commercial helicopter industry. And for my students for actually giving me honest feedback and telling me what was going well and what was really sucking. And most of all, to my husband for letting me get out of cooking dinner and for being a rock star dad and letting me pursue my new career. Finally, we enter phase five, the maintenance phase. It is possible. This is where people are constantly, and I mean constantly, reformulating the rules of their life and adapting to these new behaviors. So more than anything, this is where my behavior change has gotten interesting. I've had the privilege of co-teaching 2 classes with Dr. Lupke and Dr. Bowen, and co-authoring 2 papers with both of them and with Dr. Merck and with Scott Ritchie, and having the honor of, under their mentorship, of presenting those papers at the University Aviation Association conference. I was able to partner with student and other faculty to make pretty major curriculum changes to the helicopter program, making it more helicopter-centered and focused based on student feedback and industry feedback, and get those changes implemented for the 2016 curriculum catalog year. Able to partner and mentor 2 students through a directed study, both with curriculum development, further curriculum development, and with the investigating opportunity, the possibility of incorporating simulation into the helicopter program. I've had the opportunity to strengthen the bond with Universal Helicopters, our flight provider here, to make sure that our students are getting the quality flight education that they deserve. Most of all, learning what it really means to be an educator, becoming a student myself, a student of education, and a student learning from my students. So learning what this whole research thing is all about. Research is, as much as it is what we're doing here today, celebrating our accomplishments and learning new things and getting that word out to the scholarly community, we educators who are committed to educating students are researching every single day. Every time we prepare for class and ask ourselves, is this relevant? Is this important? Is this current? Is this what my students need to succeed? We're doing that research both internally, externally, and by talking with our students and answering those questions every day. And then we go forth and we publish our ideas and our thoughts to our students. So mentoring these people in their lives and helping them fulfill their dreams is a great byproduct, I think, and the ultimate goal of certainly my research. And so I'm just glad to have the opportunity to be here with my esteemed faculty. My references are at the back of my notes, if you like to see them. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Professor Groh? Now is the time to ask her some questions. Oh, Dr. Bloom has a question.
So what does it feel like to be a professional academic?
Don't answer that.
That's a loaded question.
And I'm hoping to get a loaded answer.
It is an awesome challenge, I guess is the best way I can say it. Every day I wake up wondering if I can meet the challenge and the expectations of my students and of my colleagues, so, which is a good thing.
Any other questions? Okay, our second speaker, and thank you very much, Dawn. Our second speaker will be Dr. Stephen Bruder, and he was the 2015 Faculty Researcher of the Year. He will speak about UAS navigation in GPS-challenged environments.
So, afternoon everyone. I apologize that I'm going to use this audience to practice for a talk on this topic that I'll be giving in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to be sharing with you the 10-minute version of a 1-hour talk. So let me know how it goes. I'm open for it. So the title of the presentation is UAS Navigation in GPS-Challenged Environments. Outline of the talk, we will go fast. So the first question is, why would I even want to consider this as a challenge? If I consider for a moment that GPS is so ubiquitous and so many different forms of it, so many countries have constellations. We have currently GPS 3 is on the way. The European Unions have Galileo, Russia has GLONASS, China has Beduian working on. Why are we doing this? GPS is so pervasive. Couldn't we just use that alone to solve all of our navigation problems? I can buy a chip for $50, $60 that talks to all of these satellite constellations and provides very robust information. So why am I here? Well, there are a couple of environments where GPS is not readily available. Examples of which you probably can't make out very well on the bottom left hand of the slide include forestry environments inside of buildings, such as where we are right now. You don't get GPS signals very well. You may get interference from a bunch of different sources, and underwater I've heard it doesn't work that well either. Maliciously, you may also be able to block GPS signals for a couple $100 very effectively. Here's an example that I won't give you the website for because it's, I don't think, legal to purchase these things, but it's readily available online for a couple $100. And you can actually jam the signal for a couple of kilometers. Sounds like a problem. So how might we address this challenge if we accept the reality that GPS is not as robust and available a navigation source as we were led to believe? There are many different options that are available to us as engineers, some of which include the first option, beacon-based, make your own local GPS. And there's a company called Locata that's selling these like hotcakes. There are a variety of other signals that both biologically inspired and other human-made signals like low-RAN systems that are RF, that are also good alternatives to GPS, but none of them are complete. They provide partial information, and some of them suffer from some of the same maladies that GPS satellites suffer from. So the alternative that I would like to advocate or promote, if you will, are inertial sensors, accelerometers and gyroscopes. If you own a cell phone, you may not realize it, but you own a couple of these. The quality is not particularly useful for navigation, but guess what? It's better than the quality that you had last year, which is in turn better than the quality of the year before that. Can you see the trend? So what I'm trying to do is get a little bit ahead of this to look at some of the inertial sensors that are on the horizon of the MEMS flavor. So pop question for the audience. What does MEMS stand for? Anyone? Dr. Post.
Micro electrical mechanical systems.
Plus 10 for you, sir. So my thesis is that inertial sensors should be the core of a robust navigation system for any autonomous platform. You can't block it, you can't jam it, I don't need to receive any signals. What's not to like? As is the case with all choices, it's a compromise. The MEMS being inertial sensors, they measure rate of change of motion, so I have to integrate it. The minute I integrate it, if there are any errors, oh dear, things drift. So I would argue it's the core, but in and of itself is not a complete solution. Here's a large picture, if you will, of the landscape of inertial sensors. The top right-hand corner is your cell phone, pretty poor quality. The bottom left-hand side are the inertial navigation systems that we send up into space or use on submarines. So top right, poor quality, bottom left, very good quality. So here are some examples of very good quality inertial sensors, i.e. accelerometers and gyros. The ERAU in the very bottom left in strategic grade will cost you a cool $2.5 million these days. On the top right-hand side are the MEMS sensors. There are things further off on the right that I dare not put on the chart. But things like analog devices, MEMS sensors are showing up in your car, by the way, in multitude. Those things are 20, 30, 100, 200 bucks. That middle ground between them is the area I'm seeking to exploit. These are devices that are not yet commercially available, but have had the opportunity as a research to work with. And they're spanning the gap between things that are interesting but not particularly useful for navigation and things that I can't afford and are too large to put in smaller platforms. So those are the things I've been working with for a while. Collaborating with folks at the Air Force Research Lab and trying to find ways to bring some of that research here to Embry Riddle. So again, bottom left is increasing performance. There are a couple of different architectures that one might try and employ, again, it's engineering speak, for how we might integrate this diverse collection of information sources that help us to determine where I am. So in crash terms, navigation is self-localization. Where am I? Robustly, reliably, all the time, in all weather, and possibly all circumstances. To start off in this work, I started working with some colleagues in New Mexico and evolved this over time. I talked about this navigation testbed that we developed because as engineers, it's often expensive to buy hardware and build something to test it. So instead, let's simulate it, because if we break it, no one cares. So we developed a software environment that would allow us to test out some of these sensors before we actually touch them. Some of the algorithms for integrating them together, and a few 100,000 lines of code later, we actually have revision 0.9. So there's still a way to go. Here's a little example of one of these simulations. One of these simulations where the black stars are the truth. The red is where the inertial navigation system, it's not playing on my screen, but it's playing on yours. The red is where the inertial navigation system thinks that the UAV is. It's doing a figure 8 if you were to look at it from above, but increasing in altitude, maximum altitude about at this point, and then completing the figure 8. As you can see, the separation is increasing between where the navigation system thinks the UAV is and where it actually is. And this is caused due to errors in the inertial sensors. So still not perfect, but can't jam it, can't block it, a really good start. With that as a core, we can integrate other things such as on the right-hand side, a GPS with even a weak, crappy $50 GPS makes a massive difference. Looking at the plots from that level, it seems like perfection nirvana has been realized. If you look a little deeper, that black cloud is what the GPS has told you as an error. In between the black cloud and the red, green, and blue lines are the marriage of those two technologies. Significantly lower errors, seemingly almost zero. And that's the starting point. So how much time do I have left?
Please go
5 minutes. Excellent. 4 minutes. I'll take the 5. So, one of the aiding sources that I've been pursuing most recently that are becoming more and more readily available, the long-winded name is OFDM. The shorter version is RF signals that are floating all around us right now. We have Wi-Fi hotspots all around. If I know where they are and IT tells me the location, maybe I could use these things to navigate. I don't have to pay for the infrastructure. I don't need to know what messages are being sent on this RF infrastructure. All I want to do is look at the structure of the message and look at changes in the structure of the message as I move. If I move and these sources stay the same, there's a Doppler shift, if you will, in the carrier frequencies. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, there's a minor detail. These things are transmitting carrier frequencies at 2.4 gigahertz. When I walk at normal walking speed of about half a meter to 2.5 meters, I'll cause them to shift a few hertz. Surely I can see 4 hertz shift in 2 billion, right? That's where it gets interesting. Is that a message from the back? Oh, you're giving me a time. Okay, 2 minutes. Good. So we use software-defined radios to try and accomplish this seemingly unreasonable task. And surely enough, if you were to look at something as strange as the power distribution of the signal across frequency, all of those little spikes are carriers. If I simply sum up the power in that signal and I look at, you can't quite make out 2 dots in that right-hand plot. Those 2 dots are 1.3 hertz apart. So I was able to actually resolve the shift in frequency caused by a human being walking down a corridor. Here at the end of the day is a graph that needs to be fixed before the next presentation because the colors are kind of confusing. These are errors that I'm looking at. So on the bottom on the left where it says unaided, those 2 graphs that are heading away from 0, that's bad. That's what happens if you don't have access to the RF aiding signals. The other signals that are kind of hopping up and dropping back down, that's what happens when you do have aided. Your error stays fairly low. On the bottom right is something called a standard deviation, if you will, which is the power, the square root of the power in the error signal. Lower power in error is good, so the aided stays lower. Looks like we're headed in the right direction. We're working on phase 2. All we need now is funding for a GPS disciplined oscillator that can measure down to 0.01 nanoseconds. Surely that should be easy too, right? So at the end, I wanted to make a shameless plug for the Icarus research group that you heard of earlier. And Jim decided not to join us for the first time that we came up. So Jim, can I ask you to stand? Jim is the staff member that is. Without Jim, we'd still be in the Icarus lab without tables, without computers, without much functioning. Thank you, sir. And of course, the multiple students that are working with us to try and make this happen. A half-second snapshot of 2 projects. There are a couple of us working with some robotic platforms, and we are using these robotic platforms to navigate. And here's a very quick image that Dr. Gentilini took in the lab the other day while he was working with one of these platforms. That's a 3-dimensional point cloud map of a table in blue, and then he moves a little bit to the right with the robot and it forms another 3-dimensional point cloud. Putting those pieces of information together in real time, you can figure out how much you've moved, and you can aid your inertial system. Finally, Dr. Seward, I should probably ask you to speak to this, but I'll use it anyway. He's working with visual and infrared sensors to do some interesting things such as ice tracking, looking at moisture distributions, and we're using UAV that Dr. Gentilini obtained a few years ago as a platform to host some of these sensors. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Students out there in the audience, we're looking for folks to work with us. Yes, Colin, that's you. Folks like that. We can only do so much pretending to be each other's graduate students. We're really looking forward to having some more students involved in our research. Thank you, and I hope I didn't put you to sleep.
Are there any questions?
Well, it seemed like you're reinventing the wheel by going on an IS system when we had that almost 50 years ago when I was flying B-52s.
So for the case of small unmanned platforms, you cannot carry some of the sensor payloads that would be appropriate for larger platforms. Things like star trackers don't fit on a 2-kilogram UAV.
Right.
So we're looking at ways of dealing with that. GPS, for example, nowadays has become an addiction that is very difficult to break because it works so well and it very precisely tells you where you are. But there are
Like you said, it can jam.
right. So what we're looking for is a more inclusive solution that is not solely reliant on one source, but is capable of bringing together synergistically multiple, sometimes non-traditional sources of information. Because I have a payload and power problem and cost to it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to integrate that, this on the UAS for sure.
What I hear from that is job security for the next decade.
How about security? How easy is it to modify or hack into or control?
So again, that's the beauty of having an inertial system at the center. The accelerometers and gyroscopes, you can't hack into that as a sensor source. You can't jam it, you can't block it. You might be able to gain access to the computer system through some sort of wireless access, but the information source as a sensor is one of the purest forms. The others you can probably gain access to. So the level of security, but if I don't know where I am and I run into something else, much of this doesn't matter. So divide and conquer one problem at a time.
I would just hand the microphone so I guess I can ask a question.
Sure.
I'm a meteorologist. How would turbulence affect the ability to, for the inertial sensor, for example, to calculate its location?
So turbulence would probably affect the inertial sensors mostly in the range of dynamic motions that it would induce. Do I have the ability to see such very wild gyrations, if you will? So I may be falling and crashing, but I'll know exactly where I am as I'm doing it. That's being bluntly honest. So the second part of your question really is how do you control it? And that's why we have Dr. Bordinger on in the research group. I'm the guy that works on the navigation system to tell you where you are, and he gets to determine what to do about it. But from my point of view, that becomes an issue if my sensor is saturated. I'm unable to find out, to measure the kinds of motion if I want to go. Is that pragmatic?
You might consider, I was thinking you might consider, because depending on what payload is available on the UAS, incorporating that into your guidance system.
We can, but a lot of the payload folks don't really want to share what they have as payload, so if you haven't got it yourself, I've tried that a little bit in the past at the Sandia National Labs, and invariably they have an interface, they want to share it with you. So at the end of the day, you need to bring your navigation system with you as a baseline, and if you provide me with extra information, surely I'll try and make use of it, but it often ended up being way more challenging than anticipated.
Then I would offer is then consider a software fix for, we have the ability to, you tell me what package you're using for sensor. The one I'm thinking mostly is mapping up Google Earth. And you have obvious connections for, this is where I think I am, here's the picture of what I see,
Sure.
and here's where I actually am. So it gets you away from having to do radar return or things like that and use visual.
Remember I mentioned job security? That works really well except when you're over the ocean, over a desert. We're trying to come up with a solution that's very broad and general for a wide class of problems, and to be blunt, I know that there does not exist a compelling solution to this problem to date. There are solutions that are dependent on types of environments, access to certain kinds of information suites. But once you take away that drug of GPS, you're in serious trouble if you want to be able to function on a wide variety of environments. No one has a solution that is complete. So I hear you and I agree with you. If there is information, we would like to ingest it. It's not always that easy to gain access to the information provided by somebody else's payload. But I agree you should try and make use of it. That's your question?
It wasn't a question.
Comments?
One more.
Do you think we'll ever be able to do without the GPS? I mean, if the bad guys shoot
There you
down
are.
on the satellites, will we still be able to fly our airliners?
I probably shouldn't answer that question. bluntly, I think we would be in serious trouble because almost all civilian systems are critically reliant on GPS. The inertial systems in commercial airlines can keep you going for a while. There are other backup systems. But if GPS were to completely shut down, I think it would be chaos, because on a daily basis, you become more and more dependent on it. Every single commercial UAV that I'm aware of uses GPS for navigation. That's its core.
Do you think your technology will evolve to the point where you will be able to do that?
I think, so for constrained environments today, yes. For open, unconstrained environments, over water or over deserts where it's very featureless, it's going to take a while. I'd like to think I can get there in a decade. I've been poking at this problem for over a decade, and I've seen things improve. But as we improve things, other people ask us for more challenging environments. If you completely remove the GPS, it's really a difficult problem. There is no single alternative that replaces what GPS currently provides. We're revitalizing LORAN, if you're familiar with that system. There's the eLORAN. Again, local, easily blocked. So there is no silver bullet. So my approach is to amalgamate a multitude of information sources to do the best that you can with the environment you're in. I don't see on the near horizon a complete solution for all environments.
Can I comment on that?
Certainly.
I would just tell you, Mark,
I'll give you one of these.
Mark, your question is amazing job security for guys like Ryan Carr and myself. We used to do this before all this occurred. It was called celestial navigation.
So, Frank, let me comment on that actually. Celestial navigation is something that we've been using for quite a while. You can get a small camera about the size of my fist and figure out your orientation to within micro radians, a thousandth of a degree. That's wonderful, but I need more than just orientation. It's a nice aid, but even it does not completely solve the problem. And even your cell phones today, by the way, again, can also do that if you download the right app. So again, this is an example of one of the complementary sources, but it doesn't in and of itself completely solve the problem.
Does the ISS use startups?
Yes, they definitely do. And those are of the $2.5 million variety made by Paul Aerospace, so they're about 8 big. So it wouldn't fit very well on Dr. Gentilini's UAV.
I'd like to invite the recipients to come up to the front for a group photo. This concludes this year's program. Thank you so much for your scholarly activities that enrich our learning community. Let's have another round of applause in recognition and appreciation.
Before that,
Yeah.
before that, let's have a rousing round of applause for Director Sarah Thomas. This whole event wouldn't even be here.
Well,
This ritual is getting better and better each year. A number of people are supporting it, collaborating, and have helped initiate it. And I really hope next year we have a much better turnout. If for nothing else, out of respect for Sarah Thomas.
Joanne Evanoff is the one who came up with the idea 12 years ago. So she's there are questions of, we're thinking about having libraries, they're thinking about having a ceremony to recognize the publications on our campus. Have any of you ever done that before? And here, we've been doing it for 12 years. It just shows the innovation, the transformation, the vision that the library staff has. So thank you to them. Okay, thank you. The group or the presentation is done. Please come up for a photo.